What's up, guys? It's me, Pez Flips, and today we are going to be talking about the uncomfortable truth of balisongs, and that is, there is no such thing as a perfect balisong. Today we are joined with the Bali Plus Bowie Rep Limited Edition. So, let's talk about it. So, every knife offers something, whether it's the way the handles are shaped, the balance configuration, is it handle bias, blade bias, neutral, tolerances, sound. There's many different things. And when we talk about more of the performance aspects of a knife, I think an important thing to consider is that as a flipper, as someone who is evolving their craft, learning new tricks, your flipping style is not a fixed thing. The tricks that you can do and the combos that you have a preference for, they change. And they change based off of the stuff that you learn and the things that you flip. So this blade, for example, is lacking a little bit of tip weight. It still fans well, but feels a little different. I have it where there's no weight in the end. So the chaplains are really sticky. So I might have a bias towards incorporating chaplains into my combo. But I moved to something like my Bali Plus V4 Tsunami, which is handle bias. And because of that, I noticed that rollovers and such are stickier. So as a consequence of this knife, my combos and my flipping style have changed. As I learn a new trick, that influences what I'm going to be doing in my combos in an everyday situation. Because I don't want to waste the skills that I'm trying to develop, I will try to incorporate them into my new combos. Like the move I'm trying to learn right now is this fan like that. It's a little harder on this guy, but it's still doable. And this is to say that in reality, every knife that you have or want all predicate on one thing. And it might be obvious, but that one thing, that's you. The thing that makes a balisong good is the person who knows how to use it. Every balisong can be used to its maximum of potential. I've seen people go crazy on CCCs, go crazy on the curved balisongs. And it doesn't matter that these things could on their face be non-competitive, because at the end of the day, it relies on you learning the moves to begin with. Just because a move is slightly more difficult, say a fan on a handle bias knife, doesn't mean you can't find a way to get that fan out. It just means that your flipping style probably, because it's a little bit harder to do, you're probably less likely to rely on a fan in your combo because it is just so intensive. But if I switch to a different knife, that will change and those preferences will change. And there might be something that I am missing from my old one that I just can't have with the other one. Every time you change balisongs, you're undergoing a series of compromises. If I change from handle bias, I lose the sticky rollovers, but I gain a slightly better fan, or I gain more consistent aerials. Something like that. Ow. Whereas, people look at these sponsored flippers, for example. I think this is kind of the inherent business model of Squid Industries. I'm by no means saying that Squid is a bad producer, a bad manufacturer, like their knives are poor performance, because the Kraken really does perform quite well. But at the end of the day, people see a sponsored flipper, because Squid is really aggressive on sponsoring people. They see a flipper flipping with Squid products, and instantly we think, well, I can do that trick if only I had that knife. And in reality, we're just taking the mental shortcut and not really acknowledging the amount of hours and days, months spent by the individual person with this balisong and many others to develop the skills. It's not really the knife so much as it is the flipper. A knife can make certain tricks easier or harder, but really it comes down to the person who's flipping it to learn the trick. I think that a lot of people also approach learning tricks in the wrong way. Part of learning a new skill or learning a new motion or whatever, in this case, it'd be learning a trick. When you go to sleep at night, your brain undergoes a process in which it recounts the lived experiences it's had in that day and further solidifies those things into your memory, into the neural pathways that make up you. So if I'm trying to learn a trick and that trick is something that I've been struggling with that day, you don't say, oh, well, it's the balisong. This balisong makes it so that I can't learn this trick. That's a fixed mindset. You're blaming the inability to do something on outside influences rather than just accepting that you can control what you can control and you'll just keep practicing. Eventually you can get it. So when you fall asleep, your brain is working to make it easier to do that trick. And that means actively practicing. That means not just going through the motions, but really considering what's going well and what's not. But it's to say that whatever you're doing, it takes time. It's about like 30 minutes a day rather than 4 hours on a Friday. And all this is about the development of the flipper rather than the knife that they have. And the fact that your preferences are constantly changing as you are improving, and that everything will have trade-offs. So next time you're looking at a balisong, it's okay if you want a big collection. I have a big collection. But just approach it in a way that you understand that this balisong is not going to make you magically better at flipping. It might make it more interesting to practice to get better, but that's not really the balisong in its own right, more just the novelty and the excitement of a new product and wanting to use it, making the idea of practice feel less mundane, making certain tricks feel better, and subsequently changing the preference of what flipping you like to do, what tricks you incorporate in your combos, and etc. So yeah, next time you're looking at a balisong, just understand, no, it's not going to make you a better flipper per se. It just might make your flipping different. I think this is why unique balanced balisongs have a lot of validity in the space. And that's because they allow you to try different tricks and have them easier. So like if I'm trying to learn a fanning trick, because in reality, like the machine-wise Thai Sasori is a little bit, at least in my weight configuration, a little bit blade bias, and it makes tricks like these like reverse palm fans easier, and therefore I know kind of the feeling of that motion when I'm approaching it on a knife with a different balance. I know what I'm supposed to do, and I can just feel the differences that I need to do in order to make it work on a different balanced knife. So yeah, in the sake of brevity, I'll wrap it up there. But I'd be curious to hear what your guys' opinions are on this thing. I love reading your guys' comments as always. I think it's the most interesting part about having a YouTube channel. And yeah, I plan on doing a little bit more of these ramble videos. I've had one that I've been thinking about. Somebody mentioned improvement, so I'll probably do some research on the best methods to improve. But one little tip right now, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Just understand that if you don't have it today, doesn't mean you won't have it in the future. And, you know, we are more likely to remember the tricks that we worked on the hardest to learn. So just appreciate the process of developing a skill, and yeah, enjoy your flipping, and have a wonderful day, afternoon, morning, evening, night. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.